Hi everyone, welcome back to Actual English. I'm Jennifer Clyde. It's time for lesson 96 and today let's talk about telepathy and deja vu. Now, I'm sure that you almost, at least once in your lifetime, talked about deja vu and telepathy with someone. I'm sure you've experienced both of these. Now, what is telepathy? Telepathy basically is, communicating with others with our minds. Sometimes you think something and then another person thinks the same thing. And you say, wow, that was telepathy. We were thinking the same thing. We were communicating with our minds. What about deja vu? Deja vu is actually, it's kind of an illusion. An illusion that you have or get sometimes feeling or thinking that you experienced something that you actually never experienced. And then later on, you experience it for the very first time and you think, wait a minute, I've been here before. I've seen this before. I've talked about this before. It's happened to me quite often, so I think it'll be fun to talk about. Now, let's talk about telepathy and deja vu today. Here is today's actual talk.
Hey Peter, do you think people can communicate with just their minds? I'm not getting anything.
What? You can't hear me? I'm telling you right now.
What are you telling me?
I have no idea. I was just letting my mind communicate with yours.
Well, do you believe in telepathy?
Telepathy. Supposedly, it may be possible, but I've never experienced it. Have you?
I haven't experienced it before, but I had twins. Like my friends were twins, and they used to communicate like that, like without even talking to each other.
Well, maybe that's subtle nonverbal cues.
It was so surreal. No, they were in different locations, and they just happened to think the same thing.
Well, since I have twins, maybe they'll be able to communicate that way.
How are you going to find out?
I probably won't. They'll know, and I won't. But what about deja vu?
Deja vu. Yes, I have experienced deja vu before. But, I mean, for me, it was always an unpleasant experience. What about yourself?
Deja vu makes me incredibly nervous. Okay. It's like this feeling of impending doom comes up over me. You know, it's supposedly something you've experienced before that you're re-experiencing, but I think it's more just a trick of the mind. Well,
I've heard that perceptions like smells or certain sounds that trigger off these memories. I mean, for example, my second grade elementary school teacher, she used to wear this certain perfume and she'd turn on this certain music every single day. And every time...
She sounds very boring.
No, it was a very relaxing session, but every time I smell that, I just feel like, oh my gosh, I've been here before.
Wait a minute, I think I've been here before.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you enjoy the actual talk conversation? I thought it was quite interesting. Now, what did Peter and Joanne mention? They did mention, of course, our topics today, deja vu and telepathy. Now, what did Peter say about believing in telepathy? He says, well, he never experienced it before, so he doesn't really believe in it. But what about deja vu? These two have experienced deja vu, and they told their own stories, so let's take a look at what they mentioned in today's actual talk conversation. Now, here we go with what Joanne says in the beginning of the conversation. She starts by saying, hey, Peter, do you think people can communicate with something, in this case, with their minds? Well, that itself is telepathy, communication between people's minds. And then she says, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything. Now, this is because Peter was trying to send her a message. He was trying to communicate with her, okay? He was sending a message, but since Joanne did not know what he was trying to say to her, okay, what he was trying to say or get across to her, she's saying, I'm not getting anything, meaning I'm not hearing anything. I'm not sensing anything. I'm not feeling anything. I'm not getting anything. And Peter says, what? How can you not get anything? I'm telling you right now. I'm communicating with you right now. okay? And then Joanne says, no. Anyway, what are you telling me? Peter says, I have no idea. So up until this point, they're just joking, okay? He says, I was just letting my mind, meaning my thoughts, my mind, communicate with yours. So he was trying to communicate through their minds. He was trying to send a message, but Joanne did not get anything. She wasn't receiving any kind of message. She says, well, do you believe in telepathy? Okay, now believe in, as you see, okay, these two are in different colors. We'll go over this vocab word, practice the pronunciation later on, but believe in something. Basically, you can believe in something. It's very different from believing that something is true, believing that it is false, right or wrong. If you believe in something, you are saying that you have a thought about something, a very strong feeling about something. You can believe in perhaps a God. You believe, have faith in something, right? So if I say, I believe in you, it means I believe that you can do it. I have faith in you. I'm not saying I know you're right. I'm saying I have faith in you. So once again, she says, do you believe in telepathy? In other words, do you think that there is such a thing called telepathy? Do you think it's real? Peter says, supposedly it may be possible. It could be possible, but I've never experienced it. And he says, have you? He asks Joanne. Joanne says, I haven't experienced it before, but my friends were twins and they used to communicate like that without even talking to each other. Now, without talking to each other, they were able to communicate. So Joanne is talking about her friends, which happened to be twins, and they were able to communicate with each other by not even speaking a single word, okay? So she is telling us a story, but she says, I haven't experienced it before, meaning she personally never experienced it. Now, Peter says, well, maybe that's subtle, non-verbal communication. Subtle means what? Think of subtle as very soft and delicate, okay? So it's a very soft, a very delicate way of communicating. Non-verbal meaning non-speaking. You're not speaking any words. So it is a way of communicating and it's non-verbal. Now, Joanne says it was so surreal. She's still talking about her twin friends. What is surreal? Surreal. It means kind of dreamlike. It's hard to believe, okay? It's so surreal. And then she says they were in different locations. So they were talking about the twins, friends of Joanne. They were in different locations. They were in different places. And they just happened to think the same thing. That's our pattern for today as well. Now, think the same thing, meaning think alike. Okay, they were thinking about the same thing or thinking of the same thing. They had exact same thoughts at the exact same time at different locations. Now, Peter says, well, since I have twins, he's got twin boys, maybe they will be able to communicate that way. Anyhow, he asks, well, what about déjà vu? Déjà vu. Joanne says, yes, I have experienced déjà vu before, but for me, she's talking about her. Personally, she says, it was always an unpleasant experience. A bad experience. An experience you don't want to remember, perhaps. Something you don't want to experience again. It was unpleasant. And she says, what about yourself? You can say, what about you? You can also say, what about yourself? What about yourself? Now, Peter says, déjà vu makes me incredibly nervous. He's stressing that. Incredibly nervous. Déjà vu makes me nervous. It's like this feeling of impending doom. Now, this is like adverse fate, okay, coming up over me. So, impending doom, something creeping up on me, something that's bound to happen. And he says, it's supposedly something you've experienced before, that you're re-experiencing, but I think it's more just a trick of the mind. So he's giving us a definition of what a déjà vu is. He's talking about perhaps experiencing something before, when you're actually experiencing it for the first time later on in the future, thinking that you actually experienced it. But he says, but I think it's more. I think it's closer to. I think it's rather just a trick of the mind. Meaning, I think it's the mind playing a trick on people, making people believe a certain thing, making them think that certain things are true or that it really happened when they didn't happen. Okay? Moving on. Now, Joanne says, well, I've heard that perceptions like smells, we're talking about senses, for example, okay? Smells or certain sounds, they trigger off these memories. Interesting. I didn't know that. So this is what Joanne heard. She heard somewhere that the cause of déjà vus is perhaps these smells or sounds that trigger these memories. A trigger is like a lever or a device, especially guns have triggers that you pull when you actually shoot a gun. But here, trigger is used as to set off, okay, to activate something, okay? So she's saying, yeah, these sounds and smells, these are what makes you think about those memories. For example, okay, my second grade elementary school teacher used to wear this certain perfume, okay? She used to wear a perfume, and she would turn on this certain type of music every single day. So let's take a look at these key words, the words that I have marked. So we're talking about her teacher. So teacher used to wear this certain perfume, and she would turn on music every single day. Just remember these words, okay, and try to connect them. And then Peter says, that sounds very boring. No, actually, she says. No, it was a very relaxing, okay, relaxing experience. Maybe in this case, that should be left out. It was very relaxing. But every single time I smell that, the scent of that perfume, I just feel like, oh my gosh, I've been here before. So this is kind of a déjà vu as well. Now, you smell a certain scent, or you hear something, you see something, for example, and it reminds you of a past memory, or it reminds you of something, and you think, wait a minute, I've been here, I've seen this, I've smelt the scent. That's exactly what she is talking about. So whenever she smells the scent of that perfume, she feels like she's been there before. And then Peter says, wait a minute, I think I've been here before. Of course, in this case, he's kind of joking, and he just casually, jokingly ends the conversation. Okay, today's actual talk conversation wasn't too difficult, so take a listen to it one more time.
Hey Peter, do you think people can communicate with just their minds? I'm not getting anything.
What? You can't hear me? I'm telling you right now.
What are you telling me?
I have no idea. I was just letting my mind communicate with yours.
Well, do you believe in telepathy?
Telepathy. Supposedly, it may be possible, but I've never experienced it. Have you?
I haven't experienced it before, but I had twins. Like my friends were twins, and they used to communicate like that, like without even talking to each other.
Well, maybe that's subtle nonverbal cues.
It was so surreal. No, they were in different locations, and they just happened to think the same thing.
Well, since I have twins, maybe they'll be able to communicate that way.
How are you going to find out?
I probably won't. They'll know, and I won't. But what about déjà vu?
Déjà vu. Yes, I have experienced déjà vu before. But, I mean, for me, it was always an unpleasant experience. What about yourself?
Déjà vu makes me incredibly nervous. Okay. It's like this feeling of impending doom comes up over me. You know, it's supposedly something you've experienced before that you're re-experiencing, but I think it's more just a trick of the mind.
Well, I've heard that perceptions like smells or certain sounds that trigger off these memories. I mean, for example, my second grade elementary school teacher, she used to wear this certain perfume, and she'd turn on this certain music every single day. And every time...
She sounds very boring.
No, it was a very relaxing session. But every time I smell that, I just feel like, oh my gosh, I've been here before.
Wait a minute, I think I've been here before.
Job well done. Thanks for staying tuned to our program. Hope you enjoyed the actual talk conversation one more time. Now let's move on to actual expressions. Let's take a look at some vocab words, some phrases to refresh your memory. Now, let's focus on the pronunciation of many of these words. They could be kind of tricky, so the first word we have for you is, of course, our topic, telepathy. Now, it's not telepathy, it's telepathy. Okay, let's try it 2 times out loud. Telepathy. Telepathy. Good job. And then our other topic for today is déjà vu. Déjà vu. As you can see, it can be pronounced 2 different ways. Either déjà vu or déjà vu. I think a lot of Koreans tend to say déjà vu. It's not wrong. Okay, there are people that pronounce it that way, but I would say this pronunciation is much more common. 9 out of 10 people will say déjà vu, okay? So 2 times, déjà vu, déjà vu. Good job. And then subtle, as I mentioned, it means very delicate, mysterious even, slight, indirect even. Now, surreal, surreal. Okay, stress goes on the real second syllable, and it means dreamlike. Okay, it's too good to be true sometimes, and things may look or feel surreal. What about impend? It means to approach. It can also mean to warn something, or about to happen is another definition of impend. Trigger, as I mentioned, something can trigger something. Okay, a scent, a noise can trigger certain memories. It means to bring about, cause, set off, start, or even spark, activate, as I mentioned. So these are very, very important keywords for you all to remember. Now, for the next time you have the opportunity to talk about telepathy and déjà vu. Okay, then let's move on. Take a look at some actual patterns to practice. Now, communicate with something. What was the definition of telepathy? Communicating with minds, right? With our minds. So let's take a look at 2 sample sentences. We communicated with our eyes. We communicated with our eyes. Sometimes you don't need to speak a word. If you're close enough, if you and a friend of yours know each other so well, you don't even have to speak a word. You can talk to each other. Communicate with each other with your eyes, okay? So in that case, you can say, we communicated with our eyes. What about this one? You can talk about perhaps your best friend. Oh no, this is another one. A friend of yours or a brother or a sister that communicates with an animal. My friend says that he communicates with his cat. Sure. So you can communicate with your mind, with your eyes, with your hands, right? Using your body parts, but you can also communicate with somebody or even something, such as a cat. I communicate with my dog sometimes. I think she understands what I say sometimes. Anyhow, my friend says that he communicates with his cat, okay? All right then, moving on to believe in someone or something, okay? Let's check out a sample sentence to get a better understanding of what believe in means. Do you believe in ghosts? Always keep in mind, believe in. It's used together. Do you believe that ghosts exist? In other words, do you believe in ghosts? We're not talking about something being right or wrong. We're talking about believing the existence of something, for example. Okay? Do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts? I do. Okay, moving on. I don't believe in superstition. Superstition. I don't believe in it. I do not believe that it's true. I don't believe that superstition is real, okay? So you can say I don't believe in something or I believe in something. Now, think the same thing or things. If you're thinking more than one thing, you can say things by adding an S. Here we go. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing. For example, you and a friend of yours, or you in a large group. Now, you were thinking about something and you were just about to say it. And then somebody else says it just before you do. You can say, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing, meaning you were thinking alike. Okay, what about this one? We always think the same things. Think the same things with an S. That's why we're the best of friends. That's why we're best friends, because we always think the same things. I think best friends tend to think the same things, and they can communicate with their eyes without even speaking a single word. Okay, I guess that about does it for today's patterns as well. Job well done.
Telepathy and deja vu, I don't know. I don't know if I believe in them completely. Telepathy less than deja vu, mainly because once when I was a kid, I had a dream about walking into a room, seeing a very specific light fixture, a certain color on the wall, certain furniture arranged in the room, and playing a game with a friend of mine, a very specific game I'd never played before. And a week later, I woke up from the dream and I was like, whoa, it's really vivid, and I remembered it. And then a week later, I went to my friend's house. There was a light fixture. There was the same color wall, same furniture, the same game that we sat down and played. And yeah, it was pretty weird. Afterward, I said to my friend, I was like, I dreamed this before. And they were kind of like, whatever. So I guess I didn't convince them, but we were pretty young. I don't know.
Well, that was a very interesting story. Thanks to Garen for sharing. And that was today's actual story. Let's take a look at it together and go over what he mentioned. Now, he says, I don't know if I believe in them completely. Now, believe in, we see it once again, believe in something. It means to have faith in something or to believe that something exists. So, he doesn't really have faith in whatever we're talking about, telepathy and deja vu. I don't know if I believe in them completely. Maybe 90%, but not 100%. Telepathy, less than deja vu. Less than. A less than B. So maybe he's saying deja vu, yeah, I believe in to a certain point. Telepathy, not as much. Moving on. Oh, it's very long, so let's follow along. We'll focus on the important parts of this very long sentence. When I was a kid, I had a dream about walking into a room, seeing a very specific light fixture, lighting, a certain color on the wall, certain furniture arranged in the room, and playing a game with a friend of mine. And he says, a very specific game I had never played before. Okay? So although you find yourself with this huge or very long sentence like this, if you think it's too much of a burden, just focus on the main words, the key words, the most important words, and you can get a feel, okay? You can get an idea of what the speaker is trying to say. So when he was a kid, okay, he had a dream, okay? A dream, and he was walking into a room. There was some light fixtures, color, there was furniture. What about this one? They were playing a game, and it was a game they never played before. He says the dream was very vivid, meaning was very clear. It was so real, and I remembered it. Okay, and then he says, a week later, okay, a week passed. I went to my friend's house. A week later, I went to my friend's house. A week after I had that very vivid dream, I went to my friend's house. There was the light fixture. There was. At his house, there was the same wall, the same furniture, the same game that we played. Now, can you connect those two sentences, the very long one and this one? So he had a dream about A, B, C, D, and then a week later, he went to his friend's house, and then he saw the same A, B, C, Ds. And then finally, he wraps up by saying it was pretty weird. Weird meaning what? Very strange. It was really strange. In that case, I guess you can also say it was so surreal, right? Surreal, dreamlike. And yeah, thanks to Garen one more time for sharing such an interesting story. And that's a wrap for today's actual story.
Telepathy and deja vu, I don't know. I don't know if I believe in them completely. Telepathy less than deja vu, mainly because once when I was a kid, I had a dream about walking into a room, seeing a very specific light fixture, a certain color on the wall, certain furniture arranged in the room, and playing a game with a friend of mine. A very specific game I'd never played before. And a week later, like I woke up from the dream and I was like, whoa, it's really vivid, and I remembered it. And then a week later, I went to my friend's house. There was a light fixture. There was the same color wall, same furniture, the same game that we sat down and played. And yeah, it was pretty weird. Afterward, I said to my friend, I was like, I dreamed this before. And they were kind of like, whatever. So I guess I didn't convince them, but we were pretty young. I don't know.
Well, time is almost up and it's time for me to say goodbye, but please do keep in mind, as I did mention earlier, practice the patterns, of course, as always, but focus more on the vocab words today, the phrases and the vocab words. They're very, very important just in case you happen to talk about today's topics, such as telepathy and deja vu with someone in the future. Okay, and also keep in mind the difference between believe and believe in. Watch our lesson one more time. That will help you a lot. Next time, let's talk about another fun topic, a very light and fun topic, horoscopes. Do you believe in horoscopes? Do you read the horoscopes often? That's to come next time. In the meantime, come to our homepage, find your way over to www.ebse.co.kr and leave us some messages. Even a simple hello would be wonderful. Okay, until next time, take care and bye for now.